Nityananda Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7. We are on chapter 4. Today we have to read text 14. Does anyone remember what we read yesterday?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
We read that Hiraṇyakaśipu, he became the conqueror of the entire universe. And all the heavenly planets of the upper planetary system, they are much more opulent than the lower planetary, the planets in the lower planetary system. And we can see that in each planet, there are living entities, living beings living there. So, and Hiraṇyakaśipu, he started, he occupied, he started living in the planet of Indradev, Swarlok, and he captured, he started living in that palace where Indradev used to live. And all the demigods are now like, they become, he would chastise the demigods and all of them, and like they have to obey, and they became under his control. Is that much?
Yes. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, they're great demigods and they become servants of Hiraṇyakaśipu.
Yeah, except for Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and Lord Vishnu. But the rest all were, yeah,
the rest, they're all afraid of him.
afraid of him.
So also goes to show a point that even if we go to the heavenly planets, we may still be terrorized by demons, you know.
Yeah.
We may still have suffering, even though we go to the heavenly planets. So going on. Jagur Mahendra Sanam Ojasa Sthitam.
Jagur Mahendra Sanam Ojasa Sthitam.
Vishwa Vasustum Burur Asmad Adya.
Vishwa Vasustum Burur Asma Adaya.
Gandharva Siddha Rishayo Stuvan Muhur.
Gandharva Siddha Rishayo Stuvan Muhur.
Vidyadarascha Apsarascha Pandava.
Vidyadarascha Sarashascha Pandava.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. O Maharaj Yudhishthira, descendant of Pandu, by dint of his personal power, Hiraṇyakaśipu, being situated on the throne of King Indra, controlled the inhabitants of all the other planets. The two Gandharvas, Vishvavasu and Tumburu, I myself, and the Vidyadharas, Apsaras, and sages all offered praise to him again and again, just to glorify him. The Asuras sometimes become so powerful that they can engage even Narad Muni and similar devotees in their service. This does not mean that Narad was subordinate to Hiraṇyakaśipu. Sometimes, however, it so happens in this material world that great personalities, even great devotees, can also be controlled by the Asuras. So Narad Muni is saying, even I was glorifying Hiraṇyakaśipu. He's taken up the position of Indra. So Indra is the king of all the demigods. So now he's ruling all the other planets also, all the different entities. And even Narad Muni and the great sages are also now glorifying him. Sa eva varnashrame
स एव वर्णाश्रमभिः
kratubhir bhuri dakshine
क्रतुभिर्भूरि दक्षिणे
ijyamano havir bhagan
इज्यमानो हविर्भागान्
agrahit svena tejasa.
अग्रहित्स्वेन तेजसा.
Being worshipped by sacrifices offered with great gifts by those who strictly followed the principles of Varna and Ashram, Hiraṇyakaśipu, instead of offering shares of the oblations to the demigods, accepted them himself. So it seems people were continuing to do the sacrifices. And then, instead of giving these offerings to the demigods, Hiraṇyakaśipu was keeping it for himself. He was taking it for himself. All these things that are put into the fire, they are meant first for Lord Vishnu, and then after he's taken, then all the demigods take it. But seems Hiranyakashipu is taking, and he's not giving to the demigods. Akrishta pachayatas yasi
अकृष्ण पश्चातस्यासि
saptadve pavati mahi
सप्तद्वीपवती मही
tatha kama dughagavo
तथा कामधुका गावो
nanascharya padam nabha.
नानाश्चर्यपदं नभ.
As if in fear of Hiranyakashipu, the planet Earth, which consists of 7 islands, delivered food grains without being plowed. Thus it resembled cows like the Surabhi of the spiritual world or the Kama Duga of heaven. The earth yielded sufficient food grains. The cows supplied abundant milk, and outer space was beautifully decorated with wonderful phenomena. So they're all so scared of him that they're giving everything that is needed. As if in fear. It's mentioned as if they're afraid of him. The earth is giving what is needed for food, cows are giving. Thus it resembled. So the food, the earth is giving all what is needed, just like Surabhi cows, she keeps on giving milk. So comparison is giving like that. That the earth is giving enough food grains, the cows are giving enough milk. It seems the outer space is also very beautiful. Ratnakarascha ratnaugams.
रत्नाकराश्च रत्नौगांश्च
Tatpatnyascha chohur urmibhi.
तत्पत्न्यश्चोहुर्मिभिः
Shara siddhu grita shaudra.
क्षारसिद्धुघृत शौद्र
Dadi shiram rato daka.
दधि क्षीरामृतोदकाः.
By the flowing of their waves, the various oceans of the universe, along with their tributaries, the rivers, which are compared to their wives, supplied various kinds of gems and jewels for Hiranyakashipu's use. These oceans were the oceans of salt water, sugarcane juice, wine, clarified butter, milk, yogurt, and sweet water. The water of the seas and the oceans of this planet, of which we have experience, are salty. But other planets within the universe contains oceans of sugarcane juice, liquor, ghee, milk, and sweet water. The rivers are figuratively described as wives of the oceans and seas because they glide down to the oceans and seas as tributaries, like the wives attached to their husbands. So just as wives are attached to the husbands, they always want to be there. Rivers are compared to the wives. that the rivers are flowing into the ocean and seas. And what are the different types of oceans that are mentioned?
Sugarcane, juice, liquor, ghee, milk, sweet water, and of course in the earth planet it is salty.
I know, right? I mean, we are so used to having an ocean of salt water.
Mm.
Can't imagine there's oceans of these other liquids, right?
Yeah.
So they go swimming in this kind of ocean. I don't know how we go swimming in our ocean.
It would be nice swimming in the sugarcane.
Can drink it also.
And
Can't drink
yeah.
salty water.
And imagine the liquor ocean. Liquor.
Then it will be too intoxicated.
Yeah.
Mm. Modern scientists attempt excursion to other planets, but they have no information of how many different types of oceans and seas there are within the universe. According to their experience, the moon is full of dust, but this does not explain how it gives us soothing rays from a distance of millions of miles. So Prabhupada has a point here that moonshine is very soothing, right? We like when
Yeah.
it's full moonshine,
Mm.
soothing. Also, it provides nutrition to all the vegetables, no? And so Prabhupada is saying when the scientists went there, they're saying it's full of dust. So how do you explain that there's so much nice rays coming from it, from there, so effulgent? If it's full of dust, then how come this nice, beautiful light is coming? Only dust should be coming, right? As far as we are concerned, we follow the authority of Vyasadeva and Sukadev Goswami, who have described the universal situation according to the Vedic literature. These authorities differ from modern scientists who conclude from their imperfect sensual experience that only this planet is inhabited by living beings, whereas the other planets are all vacant or full of dust. So the Vedas, they speak about, as we are hearing now, the different planets and the different living entities on the planets. Shela Dronibir Akridam
Sheladronipir akritam
Sarvartushu Gunandruma
sarvartushu gunadruma
Dadhara Lokapalanam
dadhara lokapalanam
Eka Eva Prathak Gunan.
eka eva pritak gunan.
The valleys between the mountains became fields of pleasure for Hiraṇyakaśipu, by whose influence all the trees and plants produce fruits and flowers profusely in all seasons. The qualities of pouring water, drying and burning, which are all qualities of the three departmental heads of the universe, namely Indra, Vayu, and Agni, were all directed by Hiraṇyakaśipu alone, without assistance from the demigods. So he's controlling the rains, he's controlling the wind, and he's controlling fire. So he's taken up their jobs, kind of, their services. It is said in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, Tejo Vari Mritam Yatha Vinimaya. This material world is conducted by fire, water, and earth, which combine and take shape. Here it is mentioned that the three modes of nature, Prathak Gunan, act under the direction of different demigods. For example, King Indra is in charge of pouring water, the demigod Vayu controls the air and dries up the water, whereas the demigod controlling fire burns everything. Hiraṇyakaśipu, however, by dint of his austere performance of mystic yoga, became so powerful that he alone took charge of everything without assistance from the demigods. So the demigods are doing only their department, but Hiraṇyakaśipu is doing of all the departments. He's become so powerful. Sa itam nirjita kakub
Sa itam nirjita kaku
Ekarat Vishayan Priyan.
Ekarar Vishayan Priyan.
Yathopajosham Bhunjano.
Yatopajosham Bhunjano.
Natrapyad Achitendriya.
Natripyad Ajitendriya.
In spite of achieving the power to control in all directions, and in spite of enjoying all types of dear sense gratification as much as possible, Hiranyakashipu was dissatisfied because instead of controlling his senses, he remained their servant. This is an example of Asuric life. Atheists can advance materially and create an extremely comfortable situation for the senses. But because they're controlled by the senses, they cannot be satisfied. This is the effect of modern civilization. Materialists are very much advanced in enjoying money and women, yet dissatisfaction prevails within human society because human society cannot be happy and peaceful without Krishna consciousness. As far as material sense gratification is concerned, materialists may go on increasing their enjoyment as far as they can imagine. But because people in such a material condition are servant of their senses, they cannot be satisfied. Hiranyakashipu was a vivid example of this dissatisfied state of humanity. So here, by looking at Hiranyakashipu, it's become evident, and also we can see by the current affairs of our modern society, we have so much more than before. We have so much more ways of enjoying, but yet our peace and our satisfaction level goes on decreasing instead of increasing. I don't know if you all have
Yeah.
experienced it,
Yeah.
right? Right? Yeah, we have
Yes.
so much more than before. But the anxiety is more, or
The
the
comforts are there. Everything is there,
abs-
but yeah, the comforts are there, but still
yeah,
you don't, yeah, the satisfaction is not, it's
yeah,
only emptiness is
r-
there.
right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Yeah, so that goes to show that actually, what are we actually looking for? We are trying to find happiness in this material things, material ways, but actually we can be truly satisfied only with Krishna. As you said, the emptiness, because we are searching for Krishna. After all, we have a loving relationship with him, but we are completely ignoring that, and we are uh, trying to find pleasure in things other than him. Sometimes we get a temporary pleasure, of course. That's why we continue doing it. Otherwise, we wouldn't do it. But yet, as you said, that emptiness. And here, Hiranyakashipu, he is controlling the demigods also. So imagine how much more comforts he has, how much more opulence, and yet he's dissatisfied because not controlled his senses. Evam Aishwarya Mattasya
evam aishwaryamattasya
Driptas Yochastra Vartina
triptasyochastra partina
Kalo Mahanvati Yaya
kalo mahan vyatiyaya
Brahma Shapam Upeyusha.
brahma shapam upeyusha.
Hiranyakashipu thus passed a long time being very much proud of his opulences and transgressing the laws and regulations mentioned in the authoritative Shastras. He was therefore subjected to a curse by the four Kumaras who were great Brahmanas. There have been many instances in which demons, after achieving material opulences, have become extremely proud, so much so that they have transgressed the laws and regulations given in the authoritative Shastras. Hiranyakashipu acted in this way. Because when we get powerful, we get some power, then we get proud, and then we say, well, I'm the controller, I don't have to listen to anyone. Why should I follow rules and regulations for what? I can do it. I am independent. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 16:23, Ya Shastra Vidim Utsrijya Vartate Kamakartata Na sa siddhim avapnoti na sukham na param gatim. He who discards scriptural injunctions and acts according to his own whims attains neither perfection nor happiness nor the supreme destination. So Krishna is saying this in Bhagavad Gita, that one who does not follow the scriptures then will not be peaceful, will not be satisfied, will not become perfect, nor will be able to go to the spiritual world. So will be lost. So one says, why shall I follow the scriptures? I want to enjoy in my way. So then what happens, that instead of enjoying, one just finds oneself becoming more and more degraded, feels more and more dissatisfied instead. So the result is can't even enjoy, can't even go to the spiritual world. The word Shastra refers to that which controls our activities. We cannot violate or transgress the laws and regulative principles mentioned in the Shastras. So the scriptures, they're giving us how we should act, how we should not act. Like a manual, like, we buy a TV, we have a manual to how to properly function the TV. So similarly, this body is a machine given to us. And we have been given the scriptures to properly function this body. And if we don't follow it, then we run into problems. Bhagavad Gita repeatedly confirms this. Tasmat Shastram Parmanam Te Karya Vyavastito Gyatva Shastra Vidhanoktam Karma Kartum Ehar Hase. One should understand what is duty and what is not duty by the regulations of the scriptures. Knowing such rules and regulations, one should act so that he may gradually be elevated. So, we may say, oh, it's my duty to do this, I have to do this. But we have to see what is it according to the Shastra. The Shastras are laying down what is our duty, what is not our duty. There's rules, there's regulations. So this was Bhagavad Gita 16:24. One should act according to the direction of the Shastra, but the material energy is so powerful that as soon as one becomes materially opulent, he begins to transgress the Shastric laws. As soon as one transgresses the laws of Shastra, he immediately enters upon the path of destruction. So we get some material opulence, could be beauty, knowledge, fame, wealth, in one area. And then we say, oh, well, I'm the controller. I can do things by myself. I don't want to follow any rules and regulations. Then we are dissatisfied and even can't go to the spiritual world. So,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, can you give one example, like how it is related, like material opulent and later it destroyed if we are not follow the path of law of Shastras? Like, is any
example? Here we are
Yeah.
hearing about Hiraṇyakaśipu.
Hiraṇyakaśipu.
No, this is like we are now reading like it in Kali Yuga, like normal world, in our world. Now, is there anything?
Yeah, we as a society as a whole, as we were just saying, we have so much more comforts. We are so much more materially opulent than before. If we see society as a whole, 50, 60 years ago and now, the comforts, the opulence each of us has is much more. But are we more satisfied than before? No. Rather, we are not. Before, people would follow the scriptures to more and more. The average person was more aware of the scriptures, would follow. But right now, more and more people disregard it, right? And then leads to more and more anxiety. That's why we see there's more stress related diseases, more depression, more anxiety. all that is increasing in the world in spite of having more things.
Yeah, like how we see the rulers, right, of the country, the leaders, and they are so much into uh, trying to get more money to more like
Yes,
sense gratification, and that's what's happening to the country, right? Like
yes, yes,
there's a
yes.
downfall. The
Yeah,
people are not happy at all.
yeah, because we are no more a God conscious society as a
Yeah.
whole. We have moved away from God consciousness.
Mm.
So
Actually,
that's
why
why we
I
can
asked,
see the evident, huh?
because recently the Ambani's son's marriage was happened, and many singer, dancer, and so many artists came from all over the world, and they paid lot of money for their like acting or dancing, whatever they did. So, but as per the list of billionaire, we can say billionaire or something, Ambani is the most richest in the Asia, in the world also. He is second or third, I don't know. I don't remember. So apart from doing everything, like he is not doing good as per this Shastra, because he is doing something related with his mental happiness and which is related with materially satisfaction. So in that case, if we relate this Shastra, like materially opulent begins transgress the static laws, as soon as one transgresses the laws of Shastra, he immediately enters upon the path of destruction. So it's uh, like for everyone, right? Whoever. The
But we have to see what the Shastras are saying. The Shastras are not saying that you don't hold opulent weddings before the kings also would have very big weddings for their children, right? We have to see what are we looking at. The scriptures,
but you
they are
can do
just,
some yagya, you can do some like donation for.
as I tell you, remember, what we are studying is for our own self. How can I improve? What can I give it out in society? Because they as a family are also known to do a lot of charity, lot of donations, lot of social work, a lot of projects to uplift the society, lot of food distribution. So what somebody else does, it's their own thing, their personal way to express what they want to do.
So it is okay, no problem, right?
See, suppose today you want to do your son's wedding, you are going to do it as per what you want to do. What has
Hmm.
the whole world got to say about it?
Hmm.
Right?
रत्न
Yes.
हरे कृष्णा
Hmm.
उन्होंने
Hmm.
अपने बेटे की शादी करने से पहले 51 शादियां कराई
हाँ
बहुत
हाँ,
अच्छी
वो देखा था।
हाँ
Yeah.
बहुत
So you
अच्छी
see, yeah. So they are doing whatever charity they want to do. See, you have a right to spend your wealth in your way. But is it that you're becoming what we are hearing is that you become so proud that you stop all the all the rituals, you stop being God conscious, but whereas we see that they're in fact encouraging people to do more pujas, to do more
Yeah,
good things
because
for
we were doing the
society.
rituals and all according to
They're
the
doing,
Vedic.
yeah,
Yeah,
they're doing all the
starting the wedding
rituals.
was, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're doing all the scriptural
I have
things.
only I have only objection about the dancers and the actors.
But
Like,
but you see, Ratna, it's a personal decision of what you want to do. Tomorrow you do your son's wedding in a certain way, and a third person say, I have an objection to what you did, but you'll say it's my decision what I wanted to do.
yes, true.
Right?
We have the money.
You know, it's
We can
it's one
spend.
person's, yeah, you're doing what you want to do in a you are deciding that you're not harming anyone. You're not, you know, transgressing anything, basically. Within that framework, you are choosing, oh, I want to do this thing. And so then you do it. I mean, what has a third person got to say with it? Here, what Hiraṇyakaśipu is doing is that he's oppressing people. He's oppressing the demigods. He's making them their servants. He's taking everything for himself. And he's becoming so fearful to everyone. Right?
Yes, yes.
Right? And what a person does with their personal life, it's their personal choice. What has a third person got to do about commenting about another person's choices?
But in this world now, these all are the common things. That's why.
Yeah, but then you see, I mean, why should we put ourselves to comment about another person? It's their choice.
Yeah. No. Here I am just related with the Shastras, like as per Shastras. Is it okay or something like that? Is okay.
Okay. Okay, so we go on because we see that kings also they would get all these performers, they would get the dancers to dance, right? Indra is also having the apsaras to dance for him, you know. So the kings, they would have their own way of enjoyment, not as a common person. Their way of enjoyment is different. The common person's way of enjoyment is different. Doesn't mean it's against the Shastra,
Yeah.
right? Okay. So then going on to 21. Tasya Gradanda Samvigna Sarve Loka Sapakala
Sarve Loka Sapakala
Anyatra Labdha Sharana
Anyatra Labdha Sharana
Sharanam Yayur Achyutam.
Sharanam Yayur Achyutam.
Everyone, including the rulers of the various planets, was extremely distressed because of the severe punishment inflicted upon them by Hiraṇyakaśipu. Fearful and disturbed, unable to find any other shelter, they at last surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. So even the rulers of the planets, they are so disturbed. Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 5:29, Bhuktaram Yagyatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suridam Sarva Bhutanam Gyatva Mam Shantim Rachyati. The sage who knows me as the ultimate purpose of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material miseries. So Srila Prabhupada would say, this is the peace formula. You know, we want to be peaceful. Prabhupada would say, this is how we can actually become peaceful. That Krishna is the enjoyer of all the sacrifices, of all the austerities. They are meant for satisfaction of Krishna. That he is the controller, Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. He is the controller of all the planets. And he's the best friend of all living entities, Suridam Sarva Bhutanam. He's the best, well-wishing friend of each and every one of us. And once we can understand that, then we can become peaceful. And Krishna is the controller. Krishna is the supreme controller. There are so many controllers, right? But supreme controller is Krishna. There are so many enjoyers, but the supreme enjoyer is Krishna. And there are so many friends, but the best friend is Krishna. And if we can understand it, then we will become peaceful. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is actually the best friend of everyone. In a condition of distress or misery, one wants to seek shelter of a well-wishing friend. The well-wishing friend of the perfect order is Lord Sri Krishna. Therefore, all the inhabitants of the various planets, being unable to find any other shelter, were obliged to seek shelter at the lotus feet of the Supreme Friend. If from the very beginning we seek shelter of the Supreme Friend, there will be no cause of danger. It is said that if a dog is swimming in the water and one wants to cross the ocean by catching hold of the dog's tail, certainly he is foolish. So how do we want to? Who is our friend? I mean, if we think that anyone other than Krishna can take us out of the material world, then we have to rethink, you know. Similarly, if in distress one seeks shelter of a demigod, he is foolish, for his efforts will be fruitless. In all circumstances, one should seek shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then there will be no danger under any circumstances. So by this verse of Bhagavatam, we can see that the demigods themselves are so troubled that they are approaching Krishna. Then how will they save us? You know, this is what Prabhupada is trying to explain, that they themselves are not able to save themselves. How will they save us? They themselves are approaching Krishna, then means even we should approach Krishna. Only Krishna is the best friend. He's the one who can give us complete protection. Comments? Questions?
No, I think it's it's okay.
Yes. Okay. So, yeah. All right, then we'll stop here for today. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda